Hello ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to be covering using JInput with LWJGL, or the Lightweight Java Game Library. I am your host Oscar from the Coding Universe, and let's dive straight in with the contents. I'm going to be covering four things. First thing is what JInput actually is and what it's capable of. The second thing, I'm going to be showing you a quick demonstration. The third thing, I'm going to be telling you about the JInput architecture. And for the fourth thing, I'm going to be covering what the code is like. So I'm going to give you some sample code. First stuff, what is JInput? JInput is a library for handling controller input. It ships with the LWJGL download under the name of jinput.jar and the native file, whereof the name can vary, but it's usually something containing JInput in its name. And it's also free, simple, and very easy to use. It only has about 8 classes, and as you will see in the the slide after that, the architecture is really, really simple. So let's go to the demonstration here. In this quick video, I'll show you what JInput is capable of. In the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see me holding a gamepad, the Logitech gamepad rumble stuff. I don't actually know the exact name. You can see me pressing different buttons and different things happen. You can also see I've implemented boosting, as you can see here. If I press that button, it go faster and go slower. And if you haven't already noticed, this is the port to the Lightweight Java Game Library of Minefront, a game which the Cherno created. So, yep, there's really not much to it here. So I guess we'll go to the next slide. How is the architecture like? How are the classes? How are you supposed to use JInput? There are actually several ways in which you can go about this, but this was the simplest approach, I thought. So you start with the controller environment, and you get that by calling controller environment dot get default controller environment dot, just that. Now you can use that controller environment to get controllers. And a controller is basically this physical device here, the Logitech gamepad, a mouse, a keyboard, a joystick. That's a controller. And then once you have that controller, you can extract different components off the controller by using a method called getComponents. And a component is a physical button. So a button or even an axis. And the D-pad is actually one component too. Now let's look at how the code is like, or what the code is like. This is a very simple program in which I assign a joystick to a controller and basically print out all the components of the joystick with their poll data. And their poll data is the value you retrieve for the component. This could be 1, this could be 0, this could be 0.5. It's always a float. I recommend you run this program before you start actually implementing this in your code, because now you can kind of pilot how your gamepad is going to react at certain games. Let's cover the code bit by bit. First, I create an instance of controller called joystick, and I initialize that to null. Then I iterate over every single controller in the controller environment, check if its type is stick, which is also a gamepad, and if so, I assign the joystick to that component. Then I iterate over every controller in the default environment, controller environment that is, and I print out its name. Then in the main loop, running is actually a private static boolean. I pull the controller, the joystick, so that it updates all the values. I iterate over every single component on the joystick, and then print its name and its poll data. The rest is just standard LWJGL. On the right hand side you can see a big fat lump of code, which is actually more practical than the thing I showed you earlier, because this actually could do something, so to speak. You can put this in the for each loop of component C for every component C in joystick.getComponents, that's here. And you basically check the name if it equals X or Y or RZ or RY. I don't actually know if that exists, but stuff like that. So you do that, and then you can do whatever you want. For example, dx is plus c.get poll data. I'm just making something up here, but that could be something you could do in your code. This is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, please tweet me at @codinguniverse or mail me at thecodinguniverse@gmail.com. Also, if you want to stay notified of my latest content, follow me on Twitter. Some other videos I thought were worthwhile watching if you haven't watched them already. I've made a video about setting up a 3D perspective, setting up a side scroller, and setting up an FPS camera. 3D perspective and FPS camera are both things I used for the application, the demonstration I showed you earlier. So if you're interested, just click the click me button and I'll be all happy about it. Finally, if you're still watching, I'd like to talk about my YouTube partnership being denied. So yesterday I applied for a YouTube partnership and they sent me a mail back within a few hours saying my viewership was too low and therefore they could not allow me inside or in the YouTube partnership program. On the upper right hand side you can see my amount of subscribers and amount of video views, and in the bottom of the screen you can see a graph I took from vidstatsx.com which shows my daily channel views over 90 days. It's steadily increasing. So yeah, I hope within 2 months I can reapply for partnership and I actually become a YouTube partner so I can have all cool thumbnails and stuff like that. If you are still watching, I praise you, because I've never watched a video like that for that long. Actually, that was not true, but if you're still watching, you can like the video, favorite the video, and optionally subscribe if you haven't already, because if you've been watching this video for so long, I hope you like it. So please also give me some feedback about the video. Is this new style of video better? Worse? Should I go back to the original style? Bye.